Hey, what's going on everybody out there? I'm Jakejames Lugo and welcome to the channel. So let's talk about Destiny 2. If you guys didn't know, courtesy of Activision and Bungie, I had the opportunity to go out to LA, California and be part of the Destiny 2 gameplay premiere event that was going on out there. I was one of the first group of people to actually play Destiny 2 in the entire world, and that was pretty awesome. But I want to talk about the game itself. I want to give you guys my impressions and my perspective. I know I'm a little late to the party with this, but I figured I'd kind of throw my 2 cents into the hat and give you guys some insight about what Destiny 2 is all about. That being said, you guys are going to be looking at Destiny 2 gameplay right now as I'm talking. What you're looking at is some gameplay of the PvP mode Countdown, which is a new gameplay mode in Destiny 2. As I'm talking about some of the different stuff, you'll probably be seeing it playing in the background, probably without sound. I'll probably put it very lightly as I'm talking, just so you guys can kind of get an insight of what Destiny 2 is like thus far. Now, I was only allowed to capture the PvP mode. They weren't allowing us to capture anything from the campaign, and we weren't really able to capture anything from the new strike that they showed there, as well as also the PvP that was going on with the PC version of the game. But with that being said, I still played everything. I still got some impressions of everything. I'm going to present it to all of you guys now. But where do I start? Destiny 2. How is the game looking thus far? Destiny 2 is looking really freaking good. Not just on PC, but also on consoles as well. The game looks a little bit more grim as far as the story. It looks beautiful, very highly detailed, looks very cinematic, looks pretty damn crazy. A lot of cool special effects that are happening, not just with the enemies, but also with your own character. And it controls very, very well. Not just on consoles the way it's supposed to be controlling, but also on PC. Even though I was kind of a little bit on some of the actual button layouts or the key layouts for the PC version of the game. It took me a couple tries to actually get used to it, but I was able to kind of, adapt and really get accustomed to it as I played more games. And then it became really, really fun. But let's start off with the campaign mode. What's going on with the campaign of Destiny 2? Well, Destiny 2 kind of takes place right after the events of Destiny 1. We're kind of getting some more insight a little bit about the Traveler, but we're also getting introduced to a new enemy named Gahul, who's kind of leader of the Red Army, which is this grouping of Cabal enemies that feel kind of disrespected and feel kind of, a little bit salty that the fact that the Traveler had chosen human beings to kind of garner the power of the light, that they were actually chosen and the Cabal weren't. So, Gahul, or Gaul, he pronouncing it wrong, Gaul actually tries to ensnare the Traveler and actually steal the power for himself away from the rest of the Guardians. And things kind of just go crazy from there. I got a chance to play one mission from the campaign, which was the mission that everybody saw during the keynote and the trailers. The mission was very cinematic. It ended right at the very end at that same point that they showed during the keynote. I thought it was pretty good. Some of the abilities were pretty awesome. The weapons felt really great. There was a lot of cool enemies that were walking around as far as the Cabal. I was really into it and I wanted to play more. Now, besides the campaign mode, what about the strike? I got the chance to play one strike, which we were kind of, fighting this Vex. I want to say this giant Vex enemy that was, I believe, on Venus. And we were going into this area where there was a lot of different, these giant turbines that were turning the area around. And there were enemies littered around, and we had to get towards the center. As we kept going down there, eventually we fell through this ground and landed right in front of the boss, and we got into a big firefight right from there. It was interesting. I'm really curious to see how some of the other strikes play out. It wasn't anything bad. It was actually kind of fun, doing it with about 3 or 4 other people, which is another big thing which I'll get into in just a second. But a lot of the multiplayer features for Destiny 2 have been changed to 4 players. No longer are you having a fire team of 3. You're going to have 4 players on your fire team, as well as 4 players on your team during PvP. But overall, Strike was pretty awesome. I got to play it on the console, not on the PC. Some people told me on the PC version it was still pretty good. It still felt, just as fun as it did on the consoles. Even though the 60 frames per second and the controls on the mouse and keyboard were still pretty fun for most people out there. But now let's talk about PvP, which is some of the stuff you guys have been looking at now. PvP is, pretty interesting. Again, very similar to the last game, the last Destiny game. However, there are some changes to it that are really going to change up the ebbs and flows of the overall game. When you go into the Crucible, when you're playing in PvP, you're going to have 4 team members on your team. Okay, it's no longer teams of 6, it's going to be 4. With that being said, though, in addition to that, a lot of your weapon layouts and your weapon choices as far as your loadout are going to be completely different. Now you'll be able to actually have the ability to have 2 of the same type of weapon, even though they'll have different types of weapon, ammo types. So you'll have a kinetic weapon, an energy weapon, and maybe a heavy weapon, but it won't necessarily be in that order like it was in the same Destiny game, in the previous Destiny game. You'll be able to have 2 of a hand cannon and have a sniper rifle as your heavy. You'll be able to have a rocket launcher as your heavy and and have a shotgun as your kind of, your energy weapon, and then your kinetic energy might be something completely different. There's a lot of mix and match that's going on there, and the weapons do feel a little bit different compared to their counterparts in the previous Destiny game. But how does this actually work in the PvP modes? In the PvP mode that I played it both on console and on PC, which was called Countdown. It's very similar to Counter-Strike if you played Counter-Strike on PC, where one team has to destroy a specific area with a bomb, and the opposite team has to defend the area and kill the enemy players and prevent them from accomplishing their goal. It ebbs and flows very similar to Counter-Strike, and I know a lot of other FPSs have done so, and it works very well on PC, especially for Destiny 2. But overall, while I was kind of roaming around some of the maps and stuff, a lot of the different emphasis is kind of put more back onto the gun usage rather than the abilities. No longer, you're not going to find a lot of people throwing grenades willy-nilly. You're not going to find a lot of people really wasting their supers and knowing that they'll get another one back. A lot of your abilities and your powers, they've been kind of, dialed back just a little bit. Even though they're still crazy powerful, you're not going to want to waste them at the wrong moment, because if doing so means that you're probably going to cost your team the matchup, which is going to suck. So you have to be very tactile and very strategic in how you actually use your abilities, as well as also make sure that you're very skillful with the guns that you actually load out before the matchup. So it really changes up the ebbs and flows of the PvP game in the Crucible. A lot of people are probably going to like that, especially if you're into competitive gaming online, whether it's on console or on PC. That might be just the types of changes for you. One of the biggest changes that I do want to talk about that I feel is a huge addition, that's a huge positive for Destiny 2, is guided games. Now, guided games allows people to be actually paired up with other groups of people that are probably going to go do the raid, they're going to go do strikes, they're looking for people in PvP. When you're playing solo and you don't have a team around with you and you don't have a group with you, you'll be that one solo player that's kind of like the odd man out. You'll be able to be matched up with other players that are looking for a specific person or looking for a person for a specific game type. It allows you to not only experience some of the different portions of like the raid and also the strikes and other gameplay modes throughout the entirety of the game, but also encourages you to interact with other players that are playing Destiny 2. It really kind of emphasizes that social aspect of the game, which I think is really awesome. That's something I've been asking for the longest with Destiny 1, when I wasn't able to actually be a part of a lot of the raids that were going down. You don't want to be that guy that just because you can't get a group together for like the longest time is not able to get any of the raid gear or be able to actually attempt the raid or attempt any of the strikes that require you to a certain amount of people. That really sucks. This is going to be helpful for the raid, this is going to be helpful for the Nightfall, this is going to be helpful for trials, this is going to be helpful for PvP, this is going to be helpful all around. Now, besides that, I actually want to kind of, round up my thoughts a little bit. Overall, Destiny 2 is looking really good. I like what I see. I like what I've played. I'm really interested to see more of it. September can't come soon enough. I think a lot of people are going to be very excited about it. I think a lot of people, when they finally get their hands on the game during the time, I believe it's this July, there's going to be a beta for Destiny 2. Probably a multiplayer beta. That's probably going to be the same type of gameplay mode that we did, that we played in Countdown over in the actual event. Probably you guys will get your, some hands-on time with it. That should be very interesting. I'll be curious to see what you guys think about this, and I'm curious now what you guys think about this, looking at Destiny 2 gameplay and hearing me talk about it as someone that's actually got hands-on time with it. Leave me a comment in the comment section below and tell me where you guys stand on this. Are you excited? Are you not excited? You guys want to know more about it? You curious about certain aspects about the game, about characters, about light, all these different things? Let me know in the description box below. Besides that, I actually guys want to show you guys some stuff that we actually got. We got a couple little goodies here. We got some Hunter, I believe it's called a Q-Bros little figure that we could actually, put together. They also gave us some, little analog stick covers. For Destiny 2, have the little Destiny logo. And finally, a little beanie hat that says Destiny 2 and PlayStation 4 on it. So just as a full disclosure, some of the stuff that they gave everybody that was there. It was awesome being at the Destiny 2 event in LA. I got to see a lot of good people, a lot of great people from the games industry as far as games media people that I look up to and I interact with. I got to see a lot of influencers, a lot of you YouTubers and Twitch streamers that are out there. It was really cool hanging around with you, especially some of you guys that were hanging around with the bar and just having a ball. That was actually pretty fun. But it was great just being around everybody and actually checking out a game that nobody had played yet. It was really awesome. I cannot wait to see more of it. But with that being said, I'll have some links in the description box below for all of you. Make sure that you guys are following me on Twitter. Again, I have a whole bunch of stuff that I posted on Twitter. I was posting a whole bunch of pictures straight from the Destiny 2 event, all the different types of displays and dioramas that they had there, as well as also some gameplay shots that, when I was actually playing the game. But also, I'll leave in the description box an interview that I did with my friend Paris Hilly, over at Gamertag Radio in Paris. He actually went to the Destiny 2 event with me, and it was pretty awesome hanging out with him. But me and him got a chance to talk a little bit about Destiny 2 shortly after the keynote, when we actually got to see some of the gameplay. I think we also played like maybe 1 or 2 games of the actual game, and then we talked about it afterwards. Definitely check it out. Leave him some love there. Leave him a comment over there. Again, links are in the description box below. With that being said, I cannot wait to play some more Destiny 2 and bring you guys some more impressions down the line. I will talk to all of you guys again very soon. Peace out. Stay epic, everybody.